Hey YouTube, guess what? We got a special thing for you. So John Gibbs, Dr. Know-It-All, and I are heading down to Port Canavaral here in a few minutes. And I said, hey, on your way from Athens, you want to drive through Jacksonville and let's do this turn together? Because we both talked about it, and he hasn't seen it yet, you know, and while it's still in the release notes, it might not be in the release notes for much longer.
That's true.
We figured we'd get a video about it. So we're just going to knock out a couple turns and see how it goes. Just for everybody's information, we are still on the 69.2.3. There is a rumor that 69.2.4 is out at employees right now. We're all waiting on the new kind of on fire release 69.3, but that is not where we are today. We have got our turn programmed in here. I think we got every camera in the world. I got 6 streams recording right now,
and including a CAN bus with the logging the data.
Recording. and we're gonna have some traffic to start.
There we go.
Great.
All right.
We're gonna engage here. As soon
this really is right in front of you. So I have to say, I was driving here, and once we got within a mile or so, and I was on this road, I was like, I recognize the road, and I'm terrified. So I was already scared before we even started this because I was like, this does not look like something I would try on my own. But
here we go.
See. Oh man, that is nasty looking over there.
There's
no wonder.
Median. There's the median. Let's see. Okay, we got the creep limit. Here's our stop.
Okay.
Creep median starting to show up. There's our creep wall, and here's the obstruction, and here's the traffic. Okay, it's going to be an easy one here.
Big old
but
gap.
We got traffic from the right, so it needs to go to the median, and here it should go. It's going to go to the median.
That median is tiny.
And it's going to and then right there. Round one.
Round one to the Tesla.
It did it.
Wow, that wasn't too bad.
I mean,
but still, it was a little less aggressive than I would have hoped.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of want to, like, once you start, you got to commit. So, yeah.
You do.
But that was great. That was great.
Round one.
Excellent. Now we just circle back.
That's where I clip my videos, and then I come back around. We can talk on yours if you want.
That's fine.
I do a UE here, and I always kind of check, make sure everything's still recording, because how many times have you started recording and realized it wasn't working?
The worst thing is this phone, because if somebody makes a phone call or something, it'll sometimes turn off the record, and it's sitting back where this is, you know, so I can't see the light. And I keep wondering, I need one of those little mirror things that you can like put, like, what is it? Not like a dentist mirror, but so you can like look behind and like look in the mirror and see if the red light's on.
So I can see my camera when I kind of. I can see
the light.
I can see the light with the way I've done this triple on here. It works pretty good.
That's a good idea.
So we've got a good traffic. This is kind of where I look in the rearview mirror now, and I kind of see what's behind me.
Right.
Because I very quickly, what I do is I hit cancel.
Right.
And I will get. I'm looking behind, going, okay, where is it? The traffic's kind of light right now, so I'm going to let 2 to 3 cars pass, and then I'm going to go. Okay, so then I get the route up, and my neighbors here that all live around me are like, what is he doing? He's got cameras everywhere.
Right.
And when the New York Times came out and filmed, we filmed right here on this corner. There were cameramen and everybody.
Well, plus of course Tesla's unmarked black cars that are out here. Apparently.
Yep, doing the same thing. They don't have cameras on them, so they're trying to be incognito.
Right.
All right, we've got our route set back up.
But still, they've got to have figured out at this point. They've got to be like, what is going on?
I've talked to most of my neighbors, so they were kind of aware.
Right.
And here we go, round 2.
Alrighty.
The stop line is very consistent. I always like to make sure the median's working.
Right. Oh, and it sees that. Okay.
And just so you know, that 4th tree is 80 meters.
Okay.
So we got wide open here. But look at the traffic from the right on this one.
Okay, that did not look good. So this looks terrible.
Okay, now it needs to get its butt out of the median.
My.
And there it is. It's perfectly placed in the median.
That is impressive.
Now, I like to pull up the repeater camera, because look at this repeater view right here, John.
Yeah.
It's got a better view in this pose than we do. No,
right.
Ooh, it almost jumped out in front of that guy.
Yeah.
And now here we go, and then now it's going to go.
You pretty much got it worked out. That is, I have to say, that median is like the smallest median. I don't think I would try to go into that median.
Yeah.
I think I would wait until it was clear.
The pose is the magic.
Right.
It does a little bit of a right, then a left, gets in there at an angle, puts the repeater in the best place to get the view, and then it just waits. And obviously, a lot of people say, hey, they've overfit for Chuck's turn.
Right.
Yes, with this raised median, with that size, with the testing they did, they perfected that. But in perfecting it, what they did was they added that median network.
Right.
And they added that creep limit. Now, what I really can't wait to see is if in this next release on .3,
Right.
we get a median network that works on non-raised medians. That's going to open up a
Yes.
whole nother set. Because I believe that UPL you were testing didn't have a raised median.
No,
right?
and actually I discovered apparently legally you're not allowed to sit in that lane as you pull out. It's considered to be a turn lane.
Wow.
Now, I mean, the fact of the matter is that everybody uses it. I mean, I'm not a young man and I've been driving a long time, and that was the first time I discovered that was not officially legal, but...
Wow. How did you discover that? Was it a commenter?
A comment, yeah. Because I pulled into the lane and I was like, let's see if it'll sit here, and they were like, you're not allowed to do that. So, so I said, well, you learn something new every day, I guess.
That's good. All right, the traffic on this next slug, I was looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
It's nice and it's coming.
Right.
I get it. I like to remap it every time, so it kind of gets rid of any memory.
Right.
And then I look behind.
So you can just engage it. I mean, this is what, 30, 40 feet?
Yeah, I mean, if it does the stop sign, I know it's engaged. Like if it knows the stop line and then does the creeping forward for visibility.
Yeah.
And here's where I start leaning, and it's gonna have to wait. It needs to wait.
Ooh.
Oh, and we got a big truck here.
Yeah.
Now look, 1, 2, 3, 4 trees. That's 80 meters.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, really? That's
Look how
80
much further.
meters?
Look how much further you and I are seeing.
Oh yeah.
1,000 at least, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's 80 meters to that fourth tree.
With a laser rangefinder from right here.
My goodness. It really doesn't seem like it's quite that far.
Now look, it's got some more creep limit here. It's not using it. It's very comfortable that it's, now here's where it's going to go.
Okay.
See that gap?
Now it's definitely going to have to stop. So it's doing this little right, it's doing a little jig.
But
it's like
that was a nice little boost there in the end.
Right.
Because it had to get out of the way. That was really good, the way it used that acceleration to get into the median.
This feels, whether or not they overfit to your turn, this really, really feels very confident. Like, I think, honestly, I would, like, this was actually teaching me how I should do this.
Don't go. Okay. All right. It went into the lane. That is the scenario where it jumps into traffic.
Yeah.
That it was expecting the guy that's going 50 miles an hour behind me to slow down.
Right.
Did you feel the acceleration I used there?
Oh, hell yeah.
And look how close that guy is behind me.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not,
It was, that would have gotten a go around me and the finger if I hadn't given it that
somebody's
that
doing
boost
air
there.
show stuff
The
there.
Blue Angels are here this weekend.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, they're doing their practice show today and tomorrow, and then their full show is on Sunday.
Well, there you go, extra bonus.
Yeah.
You get to watch the air show while we're doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've often found that that's the case it's one of those things, like, always, if you're going to commit hard.
Yeah. At least up to the speed limit, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, right. Don't
there-
accelerate gently. It's like,
There's an acceleration jerk curve that they're tweaking to say what is the comfortable curve for that. But I also think that the visibility or the range it can see in high-speed traffic, both for that merge and coming from the side, is a limiting factor still. It's making decisions to go, and then it's seeing something, and it really isn't using what I would call an oh shit acceleration, like I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
What it does is it either second guesses itself and stops,
which is really bad.
or it just meanders out there and sort of expects the other car to yield, which is dangerous on the crossbeam traffic. When you jump out in front and merging traffic, it's just one of those scenarios where you could get tail-ended.
Right.
If somebody was texting or something like that on their phone and wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's one of those things where you don't want to be a jerk, right? If you're going to pull out in front of somebody, do not make them tap the brakes. Like, that's kind of my general rule.
Exactly.
So, and this car has the acceleration to make it happen.
Yep.
So it certainly can do it.
But it would probably violate the comfort curve they're trying to use.
Right.
And that's where we get into, I have said this a few times on Twitter, I wish it had an escape maneuver mode. Like, I shouldn't have gone, but I know I can solve this with this acceleration. And on the highway, that same escape maneuver, I think, needs to be able to break a speed limit and or the set speed in order to get out of a bad situation.
That's the only times I've ever gotten dings with full self-driving beta was when the speed limit was set to 80, and I'd get caught between two trucks or vehicles, and we're going, this should be
wide open. Now, this
should be super easy.
But look how it's still getting
it's got a nice, that's great.
Let's see what acceleration it uses on that one. The same exact curve, almost not enough. Look, here we're 30.
Right, and you can see this guy starting to come up.
Yeah.
So, and it is one of those things where when Ashok, and I keep mispronouncing his name, so now I'm scared to even say it anymore. Dr. Ellerswamy. Anyway, when he was talking about the occupancy networks, you can see that the volume is very heavily favored towards the front.
Yeah.
And so he told me it was 120 meters total, and so it's pretty obviously 20 meters behind and 100 meters in front, or something along those lines.
I mean, this obviously is the best narrow field forward view camera,
Yes.
stated at 250 meters.
Right.
So it has the most range there.
Right. But it's the occupancy network that's going to be the kind of determining factor.
Yeah.
If it's only looking back 20 or 30 meters, that's not adequate when, you know, when people are going.
Not when that camera is
Right.
making that decision. Now, granted, the repeater camera also could be used there.
Right.
And
I like that move too there.
that was a human move.
That was a human move. That's one of those things. That's a Tesla move specifically. That's not something
Yeah.
you're going to do in your Toyota Corolla or
Speaking
whatever.
of which, that is a U-turn I just did. This car
Right.
can't do that yet.
Yes, that's true.
It needs to figure out that. And when you do a U-turn, do you go in the far lane? Do you go in the near lane?
Yes,
How do
exactly.
you measure whether or not you're going to be able to make it without a three-point turn?
turning radius,
Yep.
all of that
has
stuff
to be
is
very accurate,
complicated.
because if you think you're going to make it and then you don't,
Right.
in this kind of traffic,
Yeah.
you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah, you're in a world of hurt.
Right. So you've
It's
got
gonna
to
be
have
bad.
absolute confidence of your turning radius and the time
Right.
it will take you to do it with oncoming traffic. So I don't know. Maybe the fact they haven't done U-turns is on purpose because it's hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's going to require you're right. I mean, the biggest thing is it's going to require a significant distance estimation. Like, how much distance do I have to make this turn?
And you remember how semis
radius?
used to jump next to us because that was the only camera that was doing the looking?
Yeah.
Because there's no parallax to measure a beam distance.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe
it could do it in a moving sense. As you moved past it, it would be able to get a sense. But also, you know, the one downside for Teslas is they have atrociously bad turning radii.
Yeah,
So they're not, like, I've often gotten myself in situations where I'm like, well, that's going to be a 3-point turn.
Exactly.
Now. So.
Okay, let's see what we got here. We're going to try,
right.
we're going to
Let's
creep out a little bit. Okay, it needs to
definitely
wait.
some
This is
people there.
good. Oh, wow, a semi coming to it. It sees him, no problem. But I like
Yeah.
to sometimes, when I know I'm waiting, look
Yeah.
to see when they show up and kind of
Right.
compare that to that fourth tree. I
Right.
do think they show up before the fourth tree, but it's not much.
It's not much, right? But see, but anyway, my understanding
Now, here's a gap I'm afraid it's going to go for. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
Did you see him tap his brakes?
Yeah, thank you for stopping.
Yeah. So did you feel like it was going to go?
Oh, yeah.
Most people, when they look from these drone views, go, oh, you could have made it. And
No.
in my mind, it wasn't even close because there were so many cars.
Right.
And so I'm going to...
Yeah, we can rewind and try again.
Yeah, because of the there's nobody behind me, we get this
Well, I
situation.
think the camera view is one of those things where people really get a misunderstanding of.
Yeah.
That was one of those, like, you could have, if you jammed it on, gotten to the median.
But I don't trust that it'll do that
Well,
yet.
but also if somebody had pulled into the median, you have zero room for error.
Okay, now here's the gap,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to wait in the median, maybe. Now watch this. I bet it waits on that guy in the far lane, whereas a human would use the
Right,
closest lane.
right.
So it's still waiting on everything to be clear before it jumps
Yeah,
in.
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not making a distinction. But it was one of those situations where if everything had been perfect and you knew this side was clear, yeah, you could have jumped it and gone.
Yeah.
But any error in that would lead to an accident immediately.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Well, so I think I'm going to end on that one because I think we got to see the situation to where what I try to articulate is that camera range saw a gap.
Right.
You and I were seeing much further and had already made the decision it can't go.
Exactly.
And I verbalized that I thought it was going to go for that.
So you definitely know this particular.
The speed and the range, the camera hadn't seen that slug of traffic behind that tiny little hole yet, and made the assumption that it was completely clear behind it. So that's where we get into this occupancy network discussion of, is it putting shadow cars? Now that wasn't an occlusion. We know they're putting shadow cars behind occlusions. That was a range thing.
Yes, exactly.
But
this is where you're limited. If it's a 120 meter box that you're in and it can only see that far, then that's all you get.
Because at this speed, and these
you'll cover
cars,
that real fast.
It's about 3.5 seconds of decision time.
Right.
So I think they can continue to work on it. I'm really excited. Maybe the 5.4.
The biggest thing my understanding is that there's going to be a variable resolution, infinite distance occupancy network. Which means that what it'll do is be able to look infinitely far away, well, I mean, to the sky, but it'll be able to look further and further away, so it will be able to make out cars that are further away. So whenever version that is that they roll it in, which I hope will be 69.3, fingers crossed, that will be the moment where it'll go like, oh, that's a bad idea to try to go right now because I see a bunch of other cars coming.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, but what'd you think?
I think that was great, and it's terrifying. I mean, the first couple of times it wasn't that bad because it actually had a pretty good gap. But getting into that median was crazy, but it actually handled that really well. But the decision making about pulling out was the part that is disturbing.
Yeah.
And again, that what you said, oh shit, where it's like if it's going to go, it needs to go.
Yeah.
It's like I've committed, I'm going.
And that's where, if there are new drivers coming out and you're testing it, just don't mess around with it. Make the decision that you would make. If you wouldn't go, then don't let the car go.
Right.
There are some situations to where humans are a little bit more conservative, but I don't have the trust yet that it's going to use the necessary acceleration every single time for me to just trust it. So if I feel it, maybe I would. But if it starts creeping out there without the jerk I need, then I usually abort.
That would be the thing. Honestly, if that had gone bam and just gone,
you might have.
I would have said like, okay, let's run with it and see what happens.
But the other thing is in those tight gaps, as a human, I've got to look to the right, double check the median's empty, and look to the left to make sure the car's making the right choice. The car can see a lot more in an unincluded environment that sometimes it is making those right decisions. Well, hey, John, this was fun.
That's awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's like so much fun.
I know, and we're going to be talking on the stage tomorrow. I wonder what we're going to talk about.
I think we'll talk about this to start with.
All right, everybody. Leave some comments below. Subscribe to Dr. Know-It-All's channel or my channel. Leave comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.